This is Lisa from MobileTechReview, and now for something a little different, but it really excited me. So when BenQ offered this monitor for review, I said yes. Why? Because it's a 32-inch 4K wide gamut Thunderbolt 3 monitor for the Mac and also for Windows. But for Mac people who are looking for Thunderbolt 3, because obviously your MacBook Pros, they have nothing but Thunderbolt 3 ports, there's not a lot of selection out there, and Apple's own Pro XDR $5,000 display with a stand that costs an additional $1,000, and then the Visa mount is $200, again, more. It's kind of crazy expensive. And the LG Ultrafine display that Apple's been selling also, the first gen had its foibles, the second gen is 27-inch. It is 5K though, but it's not 32-inch, and it costs a bit more. So this one has a pretty decent price. It's a list price of $11.99 for the 32-inch. There is also a 27-inch model that's $9.99, and that's a lot of features for the money. How good is it? We're going to look at it now. So this monitor is for those of you who are looking for something higher end, but obviously not to the $5,000 range. Say you do photo editing, video editing, perhaps professionally, so you want something that's wide gamut, you want something that's high resolution, and you've got it at 4K, and you want something that's, this is unusual at the price point, it's true 10-bit color, not 8-bit plus FRC, this is true 10-bit color, and no PWM. Well, this is what this one has. This is a 60 Hertz monitor, so it's not really intended for gaming at super high frame rates, but then again, the target audience is more towards the Mac, not the hardcore gaming people with gaming laptops. You could use it for that too. Should you wish to also use it with something that does not have Thunderbolt 3, you can do so. In fact, they include both the DisplayPort cable and an HDMI cable in the box, plus a USB cable, so the USB ports will still function as a USB hub on the monitor. And it has built-in stereo speakers that are pretty shockingly mediocre. Oh well, I use external speakers. I can't say they're that much better than the MacBook Pro speakers. I did also test this with the Asus ZenBook Pro Duo, which has Thunderbolt 3, and it worked fine there. This isn't just a monitor, though. It is functionally a Thunderbolt 3 dock. It supports the daisy chaining of monitors. There's a second Thunderbolt 3 out, so you could plug in actually an additional Thunderbolt 3 monitor if you wanted to. It has 3 USB-A ports, 3.1 on here. We have USB-C Gen 2, and that one's side mounted along with one of the USB-A ports, which is really handy so you don't have to reach behind the monitor, and there's even a vanity cover for the rear ports, which you don't want to take on and off. And there's a headphone or speaker jack on the side as well. You've got pretty much everything you want. You have HDMI on the back, you have DisplayPort as well, so you can plug in different kinds of additional monitors. The only thing that we don't have here is Ethernet. It can also charge the Mac, and I'm using the 15-inch MacBook Pro, which requires 87 watts of charging power, and it charges it just fine. It doesn't lose juice. Like a lot of more expensive monitors, there's not an external power brick. The power supply and all the Thunderbolt 3 dock stuff and all that is built into the monitor. So it's not particularly light, let me tell you. But the nice thing is it's just a power cord that plugs in the back. The stand, like I said, is included, and it's a good metal stand. It's got a lot of weight to it. It telescopes up and down, stays put where it should, it has tilt, and it even has rotate should you wish to use this in portrait mode. And it's got a Visa mount style mount on the back, so if you do want to just Visa mount it instead, you could. Another interesting thing that they did, on the rear right-hand side as you're looking at the monitor, there are the usual OSD controls for controlling monitor settings and a little joystick. And if you're like me, you probably hate those fiddly little buttons, and you can't even see them because they're on the back. You don't have to care about that because it comes with the G2 puck, as they call it. And it's a little rotary controller with buttons on it, so it makes it real easy to do your OSD control settings, your brightness, your contrast, your color profiles. There are quite a few color profiles here. So and you've got also, so you can quick set what some of the buttons do. Like there's a built-in MacBook profile, so it kind of matches the MacBook display profile, and it really does. So just hit one of those buttons and you can do that. You want to switch to Adobe RGB, you can program another button to do that. You've also got DCI-P3 settings, you've got a low blue light setting, you've got one that's for animation, which basically amps up the darks without bringing the lights up as well, so you don't have overexposed areas. And they even have a split kind of profile going on, so if you want to have like Adobe RGB on one side and sRGB on the other for whatever reason, you can do that. I don't need that. Maybe you do. Anyway, you've got a lot of profiles. It also comes with a bunch of ICC color profiles, and it's important that you choose the ICC color profile that matches whatever you've set in the OSD settings. They also have some desktop software if you prefer doing that, but really it only replicates everything that the built-in monitor controls do with that G2 puck. So I figure less software is always better. Hey. In terms of color profiles, you have full sRGB coverage, and in fact, we check that and it's true. They claim 95% of P3 color gamut. It did close to that. And they don't talk about Adobe RGB much, which is a shame because a lot of people who buy higher end monitors are doing photography for print or for magazines. You get the idea, that sort of thing. And with the Adobe color profile activated and the Adobe settings set on the monitor, it did manage 93% of Adobe RGB, which is pretty darn good at this price point for a monitor this size. In terms of brightness, it's 300 nits. There are brighter displays like LG's 5K ultrafine display hits 500 nits. Dell's ultra-sharp monitors also hit 500 nits, but Dell's ultra-sharp monitors are not Thunderbolt 3 monitors, so there's that. It does support HDR10 as well. If you're into HDR content or if you want to plug it into your PS4 or something like that when you're gaming, you can do that. It comes with color calibration from the factory. They do a pretty decent job though. If you mix and match those ICC color profiles, like I said, with the monitor settings, you can throw off those color accuracy settings. So make sure to do that. And they have both CalMan and Pantone certification on the monitor. Again, I like it because for the price, you're getting a lot here. I know it's not a cheap monitor, but compared to, say, the $500 LG monitors I've been using, 4K ones meant for Windows and Mac and all that sort of thing, this one blows it out of the water in terms of sharpness, in terms of color gamut. It's just really nice. And also, for those of you who are using it with a Mac, a lot of third-party monitors that are not particularly meant for Macs, they have problems with power management. For example, the Mac goes to sleep, the monitor goes wonky, that sort of thing. None of those problems here that I've had with some other monitors that are not meant for Mac. So there you have it. That's the BenQ HDR 32-inch monitor. Again, also available in a 27-inch size if you prefer it a little bit smaller. And I think it's a lot of bang for the buck. I mean, there aren't a lot of Thunderbolt 3 monitors out there, and even, you know, especially Mac compatibility done as well as this. But if you're really looking to step up your game for your photo editing, your video editing, whatever it is, you want wide color gamut or something that's just actually beautiful to look at and huge, they've done a really good job here. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos and hit that notification bell.